What's good, y'all? It's the one and only King Cal 516 live in the mix, and this is the Switch Flames podcast. So Tyler Herro is the key that unlocks the Miami Heat. Tyler Herro is the key that unlocks the Miami Heat. We're going to get into this, but before we do, make sure you check out the website, www.switchflames.com. Hit us up on Twitter, @SwitchFlames, and definitely check out the Facebook and YouTube page, @SwitchFlames Podcast. So not too long ago, I had a podcast episode where we dived into the Miami Heat being a dark horse team, and I explained definitely a few things in that equation of what would be the keys to Miami truly contending for an NBA championship. And so far this season, a lot of these things have come true, and Miami's looking good. And if these things remain, Miami's definitely going to be a tough team to beat because they match up pretty well against any team in the East right now. If you look at them in Milwaukee, the Giannis factor is still a Giannis factor. You know what I'm saying? I still take Milwaukee in the 7-game series at the moment, but the Heat are definitely equipped to beat them if these things remain true for the whole season. Also, the Brooklyn Nets right now, they look a little bit in disarray, but I believe the Heat have the personnel that can challenge the Nets as well. And one of the main key things I did stress was Tyler Herro. I said Tyler Herro needs to become the Tyler Herro the Heat basically was expecting for him to be since his rookie season. Now, this is only his, I believe, his third year in the league. In his first year, he had a breakout season. You know, he probably overachieved. He probably achieved a little bit better than everybody expected. And then all of a sudden, in his first year, Miami gets a couple of breaks during the pandemic and in the bubble, and all of a sudden, Miami Heat are in the championship game. And so, Tyler Herro had a great playoffs, and it was looking very promising. Then, last season hits, and his progress just didn't really go as far as the Heat expected. It was a very, very inconsistent Tyler Herro. He did increase his points by, he went from 13.5 to 15.1, so he did increase his points. But overall, his three-point percentage dropped down a little bit. He basically became a 36% three-point shooter, so it wasn't as respectful. And it just was inconsistent play. And so what they expected from him and how they wanted him to progress, he was just a little bit inconsistent. And it just seemed like he wasn't meshing. And then we understood that there was just a lot of question marks when the season ended, because basically when James Harden was available, we know the Heat did not want to include Tyler Herro in any trade. They basically made Tyler Herro untouchable in trades. And by the end of the season, a lot of people were questioning why they even do that. So that was basically Tyler Herro basically falling out of grace, so to speak, in the eyes of a lot of people, a lot of Heat fans, and things of that nature. So here's the thing. Right now, he's off to a great start. Now, he is not the only important thing, but we know with Eric Spoelstra's system, he's a great, outstanding coach. Defensively, Miami has got even more personnel to handle things defensively. They got a couple of finesse players sprinkled around, a whole bunch of dogs. This team goes out and get it. Spoelstra's not afraid to change coverages, to mix it up on defense. And so I think this team is already suited and very fine defense. The problem with the Heat to win a championship, and it's the same problem they went into the bubble, they just didn't have enough offense, right? And this is where Tyler Herro comes in, because we know Duncan Robinson is a lethal three-point shooter. He's a marksman. He's more of a catch-and-shoot kind of guy. The difference between him and Tyler Herro, because Tyler Herro, the Heat need him to be a marksman as well, but Tyler Herro can go get it off the bounce. You know what I mean? His shot is he can get it off the bounce. And so he doesn't have to relegate himself just to a catch-and-shoot guy, but he can also take you off the dribble and get a shot. So he's a guy that can get his own shot. So if he keeps his shooting percentages up, it's going to open the floor more for a lot of other guys to operate, such as a Kyle Lowry, such as a Jimmy Butler. You understand what I'm saying? So Tyler Herro is a key component to Miami Heat because of the fact that if he plays to his potential, Tyler Herro can definitely be a 20-point-per-game scorer, and the Heat would need that, right? And that's just going to open them up so much offensively, and that's just going to make them a bigger threat. So the key to Miami Heat success in championship, can they score enough points, right? Because last year's playoffs, once again, that became a problem where they just couldn't score enough. They just didn't have enough going on the offensive end to do that. And I felt like plenty of times it just felt like too much fell on Jimmy Butler. And he struggled a little bit last season, especially in the playoffs. We saw that. So I believe this whole offseason was about Miami getting players to take the load off of Jimmy Butler and also banking on players such as Bam Adebayo to continue to take steps further in Tyler Herro. So far this season, let's dive into what Tyler Herro is doing. Obviously, it's a small sample size. The Heat have 5 games under their belt so far. Tyler Herro is averaging 22 points, y'all. He's averaging 46.6% shooting, which if he can maintain that throughout the season, that'll be his best shooting percentage of his career. He's 37.1% from the 3, so his 3-point is just a tad bit better. You know what I mean? They need him to, I believe, they really need Tyler Herro to be 38% or above. So I think he actually has to shoot even better than that, right? He's averaging 6.8 rebounds, 4.4 assists. All of this will be career highs right now if he can maintain that. But it's a long season. Some of those numbers could drop down, or we don't know. Some of them could increase. But what this shows me, his efforts there, and we know that he gained about 10 pounds in the offseason. So his work ethic this season, I think he took it a lot more serious. I think it's one of those things sometimes when you look at it, you have a breakout year, you might start feeling yourself a little bit, but guess what? Now teams have a lot more tape. Now teams are aware of you, so you are no longer the surprise, and now teams will be game planning for you. And I feel like in his sophomore season, he felt some of that a lot, right? But I think with his progression not really lifting as high as some of these other high caliber players in his draft, I think it was a slight rude awakening for him. You know what I mean? That South Beach life can be a distraction, and I think he had a rude awakening. So I think Tyler Herro is a lot more focused, and coming into the season, seeing that he put on 10 pounds of muscle, I think that was great. And I think that's already paying dividends in his rebounding, because he can take a little bit more hits through the contact, especially now when they're not caught in those flimsy fouls. Thank God about that. But he can endure a little bit more contact, and he can be a little bit more physical with the extra strength he's put on. And so he's having a monster season right now. If he continues, you know, along with obviously Kyle Lowry and his high level of playmaking ability, but right now Tyler Herro, if he can continue to provide that kind of punch, being the sixth man of the Heat, you're going to have to watch out, NBA, because the Heat will be a dangerous team that match, like, once again, like I said, they match up pretty well with a lot of teams out there. But with that said, it's your boy King Cal 516 live in the mix. This has been a Switch Flame Podcast. Please hit the like, please hit the subscribe, hit the notification tab so you can keep on receiving notifications when we drop any episodes of the podcast. We appreciate your support. If you feel so inclined, hit us up on the Cash App, $ King Cal 516. This has been the Switch Flames Podcast, y'all. Let me know what you think about Tyler Herro. Do you think he's a key component to the Miami Heat contender for NBA championship? Let me know what you think. Peace out.